What's going on?
Hey, hey,
How are you today?
I'm good. First, I want to say I think this is amazing what you got going on. I'm happy to contribute in any way I can.
Thank you so much. Thank you for saying yes. So, let's tell the people why you joined the military.
Okay, yeah, that's a long story ago. So my dad was in the military. I got a couple uncles and grandfather and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I was the only boy. I'm the youngest, and I hung around my dad a lot. So I was very used to the whole military lifestyle. He was Army. So I did tell myself that I was not doing any of that, but I would keep that option as a last resort.
Yes.
With any teenage boy with somewhat of skills on the court, hey, I thought I was gonna play college ball, but that didn't work out.
Hey.
And so I got a job, but I was like, I should probably make a move because college, I'm not focused enough right now. But if I joined the Air Force, I could do it at my own pace and
Yes.
still see things, see the world and things like that. So it was one of those things that I had to get away from home, or else I probably would have went down a different path than I went. So I decided to join the Air Force.
Okay. Well, we met at both our what was Milestone was my first base, and that was what was that? That was years ago. Years.
Yeah.
When I got there, I did not. I guess I expected something different, but that place wasn't. It wasn't ready for anything.
See, it was a different experience for me because it was my second base. And even though I had left Germany and came back stateside,
Yeah.
Maelstrom wasn't stateside. That was still, to me, it was considered overseas because it was in the
Yes.
middle of nowhere.
Yes. I mean, the closest town was 2 hours away. It was a mess.
Yeah.
So, how many times have you deployed? Had you deployed throughout your career?
Okay, so I've been on typical Air Force deployments three
Yes.
times,
Okay.
but as me and you, we had somewhat of a semi-charmed career. We had those good assignments that come down once in blue moons that people don't
Yes.
ever get. So
Yes.
when I was working at headquarters NATO in Belgium, I went to Afghanistan 4 consecutive years, each year at the same time, but I only did it was a 4 to 7 week window each time. So I went to Afghanistan every year for a 4 year period, but I made it work for me. It was a good experience.
So, being in the military, you retired. What made you stay and say, I'm doing this to the end?
So I had a couple of crossroads throughout my career. So I came in, I signed a 6 year contract.
Mhm.
I was security forces. They got me. I got to tell this story because
Tell us do it because
your
they
audience
almost
is
got
so
me.
your audience is so broad. So I have to tell this story in case you got people in here looking to join.
Yes.
So when I when I made my mind up that I was going to join the Air Force, I wanted to be part of the Air Force. So the job that I wanted to be a C-17 loadmaster. I
Yep.
heard things that they fly to all of these places and have all
Yep.
these good experiences and stuff. So I was like, hey, let's find out what that's about. I put communications and I put postal on my list. But then the guy was like, well, what about security forces? Being a cop. I was like, I don't even like cops. And I actually said that when I was 18 years old. But he started saying some good things about it, and I'm like, okay, no problem. Put it as my last choice. And that was the wrong mistake. Knowing what I knew, like 2 or 3 years later, because it was critically manned, and I put it down as my choice, no matter it was the bottom or the top, it shot it straight up to the top.
Yep.
So I signed in 6 year enlistee as security forces. And that first fork in the road was, do I stay in and do this job?
Yep.
because this isn't something I want to do on the outside. So if I want to continue to have some success, I would need to stay in the military and do it.
Yeah.
Do I explore the options of switching up my job, which was awesome, by the way? Back then, a lot of the cop leadership didn't let the first term airmen know that you won't get denied as a first term airman trying to retrain.
That's it right there.
That was something that they kept secret. But you knew me from back in the day. You knew I had the plug. I had the information.
Hey, all the time.
So that was the first fork in the road. I was able to retrain. And once I retrained, I got into communications and I went down a different path. Um, got to the 10-year mark. Uh, about that 11, 12-year mark, I had just made tech sergeant and I was going to go reserve and take this master sergeant slot. Instead, they gave me an extended long tour to Belgium, which was going to be 4 years. So I'm
Yep.
doing the math. I'm like, if I finish that tour, because I know what that assignment is all about, I know what they
Yes.
do. That'll put me at 16 and a half, and then I just got one more assignment. So that was the other crossroads, and I decided to stay in.
Okay.
But there's one more. You remember that time period where they were trying to trim the numbers and
Yep.
offer the early retirement?
Yep.
Well, I was over 15 years at the time. I had shot my resume out there. I had lined up some things, and I was going to leave. I hit that button to get on that package, and sure enough, Air Force came back and was like, "Oh, we're letting people go, but we're not letting you guys go."
You're not on the list.
So those were my three crossroads, three forks in the roads, and I decided to stay in.
Where'd you finish off your career at?
I PCS from Japan, Yokohama, Japan. I didn't want to retire from overseas, so I got stationed at Fort Meade, and uh, you had to have at least 1 year retainability. So when I got here, I feel that I try to peep out the scene for a little bit to see if it's an environment that I wanted to do a little bit more time. But no, as soon as I got here, I hit the button. I lined up some things for my next life, and I've been hitting the ground running ever since.
I mean, people sit there and they say, the 20 years is so hard, but I remember I got that same 15-year option. And the first sergeant was like, I was stationed in Germany. And the first sergeant was like, it's a good opportunity, blah, blah, blah. And I had just had my daughter. And I was, you sit there, I was married. I sat there, I was like, but is this really a good look? Like, this 15 years is something, but 5 more years ain't gonna kill me. So I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and pass. And I felt like he was trying to sell it to me, like, you should just go ahead and leave. You should just do it. And I'm like, but it's not horrible. This job isn't horrible. It's people make it
Yeah.
out to be really horrible all the time. But when you start changing your thought process, like, well, I got a goal. I got things I want to finish. I finished. I was doing my bachelor's. And then I decided, I was like, well, let me take it to master's, And then I was like, oh, I can't get out. Who gonna pay for this? Like, I got to give this GI Bill to my daughter. Like, I can't
Yeah.
just get out. But it's just, now it's a different time. Because
Yeah.
as you were saying, that, the security forces, when I went to see the recruiter, he asked me what I want to do. And I said, I've always wanted to be a lawyer. And he's like, oh, security forces would be great for you. I didn't know no better. I was like, oh, okay. That it sounds like it. He's like, yeah, we have different areas in it. I'm like, okay. So the day I went to MEPS, he put it down as one of my choices and went to MEPS, and the lady was like, all right, lift this bar up over your head. And I was like, okay. I moved my hand and she was like, no, honey. She was like, you adjusted, you can't do it. And I was like, but I'm like, you're gonna give me another chance? Like that's it? She was like, that's it. I can't, you can no longer do this. When I got to basic and I seen what security forces was doing, listen, I was like, oh, that was the setup. Okay. So basic, my recruiter, after basic and tech school was done, my recruiter, he wouldn't answer his phone. And it was me and another dude that left from that same recruiting office. He wouldn't answer his phone. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't respond to none of our emails. And both of us was like, well, what the heck is going on? I said, okay, I'm not the one to sit around and wait for nobody. I took leave and I went in the
Yeah.
hole because I was like, I'm going home. I've been away from my mom for like this long. I've never been away from her. Went home. I went to his office. He didn't expect me to show up at his office. I walked in. I still had some pamphlets, and I was like, you know what? I went in there with the mindset to tell him off because I was like, how ignorant is that? Like you putting these young kids into a position where you didn't even care about them. All he cared about was his numbers and making sure
His
he made
number.
what his time, his what he needed to do. And sometimes a lot of people done that. They do what they do, but you're in a position to help people actually see the better. Because
Yeah.
had I gotten to security force, I don't think I would have made it 20 years. And like you said, they don't tell us first coming in that we have that option of trying to change our jobs, because I went in open general and I didn't
Yeah.
know that I could change my job, as a first term airman. I didn't find out till what, 2 assignments later. I was like, these people, I mean, you don't care about nobody, but the job I had was really good because I've met a lot of people. It's a broad, career field that I can jump out here and go and get anybody's job and take the top
Yeah.
job because I did it in the Air Force. But
Yeah.
I would have liked to have a choice, right? I guess if I had the choice, then I would have been like, nah, this Air Force ain't even it for me, because y'all don't know how to talk to people, y'all don't know how to treat people. I mean, it is better than the Army, but
Right.
it's a whole different world now. How people are acting, how they're. I mean, listen, y'all. I'm really upset about the ponytail thing. Like, I think it looks unprofessional. And I know it's some people out here like they playing the game. They wearing their ponytail, saying they feel weird about it, but that ain't it ain't professional. Like, that ain't the Air Force I knew, right? Like, you come in, like, even when I was in and people had their hair, I'm like, this your ponytail is a little bit too long back there. Like, you need to fix that. And I got long hair, so if I can get this thing in a ponytail, so can you. Like, come on, man. But for you, what would you tell somebody that wants to join or is thinking about joining? What what advice would you give them? Because I know, I mean, the Air Force is you don't get to choose anymore. You don't get the choices we had. But what advice would you give them?
So it's funny you asked me that because I've had two cousins, a couple of friends' kids since I've been retired. A lot of people seek me out and they ask advice about joining the Air Force. They they never come if they know me. They never come see me about the Army, but they always ask me about the Air Force. And I say pretty much the same thing every single time. So I start off by saying, "Oh, that's a good thing that you have that in your mind and your plans. But I have one question for you." And when I do that, I get this look on the face, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's somewhat of a serious question. Are you sure?" And I ask, "Are you sure?" because that has layers. But I say, when you join the military, you have to be sure. Yeah, you hear experiences from this person, that person, and all of that. But the one thing that's constant is you don't have any control. You can make it your best experience, you can make it your worst experience. You can use the tools that they give us to excel. You can use the tools that they give us to be hybrid and then excel later. However you want to do it, but you don't have any control. Your life is going to change at that point. So if you have some habits of, problem with authority, procrastination. If you have some of these habits, which are natural as a young
Yes.
person, and that's not knocking any young person, if you have these habits, you need to look inside yourself and say, "Hey, is this a deal breaker for me?" Because if I go into this situation with these bad habits, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
And once we get past that seriousness talk, then that's when the fun stuff comes in. And I make a point to let them know that I saw a lot of guys in Germany that just came in first base like me, and then I saw a lot of guys in Montana. It was their first base, my second base, but we all had a goal. We all signed up to do a job, and we're all getting paid. But their mindset wasn't all right. If I wanted to get in trouble, If I wanted to make these big mistakes, I should have stayed at home and made them, because you don't
Yep.
understand, making a big mistake in the military carries a lot of different weight that can handicap you throughout your whole life.
Yes.
So I like to put that out there so people can understand the gravity of the situation.
Yeah, because people don't. They think they can come out here and wild out, do whatever they want, and mama gonna be like, okay, don't do that again. But I mean, you got to remember some of these people, they don't care about you, and that's the sad part about it. It's like when I was stationed in Montana, it was a family. Everybody was, we protected each other. The next base, it was like everybody was solo. Everybody was, they don't, nobody cared about you.
Yeah,
Nobody wanted you to. It was like, oh, if I make rank, that means you're not gonna make rank. It's like, come on, man. Like the numbers out there, if it was meant to be for you, I mean, I remember when I was stationed in Germany, I had made staff. It was a girl in my section. She was hot because she felt as though that she should have gotten it instead of me. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, this is what we're doing. It's like because you didn't make it, now you finding reasons why I shouldn't have made it with you. Like we should have all went down as failing. I can't get the grasp that concept of nobody being happy for you. Like I studied my behind off to make that. You know what I'm saying? Like those stripes aren't just given to anybody. And if they
no,
were,
they
it's like
can't.
the first set when you come in is like that's the ones that are given to you. You got to earn after E5 and up. You got to earn that. It's like people think that and that's another thing people need to know. The Air Force, it's like now they're changing it to where it's boarding and testing. So
Hmm.
people aren't ready for going in front of the board. The Army, they've been doing that for ages. It's just the only thing is they don't test. They just
Yeah,
they promote you and that's it. But the Air Force, we got different standards. You got to make sure these people are worth this promotion, right? Or you have the
yeah,
ones that are promoted and don't deserve it because they don't care about nobody else. They just doing it to do it.
yeah.
So, is there
What?
anything you want to share?
I did want to go back to that last question. Like, what's another thing that I tell people?
Yeah,
I tell people that, and what you were saying about your experience with your coworker, that reminded me, you're going to be around people from all over the country, people that you never would probably say two words to if you just saw them on the street or whatever. You
100%.
guys come from different locations, come from different backgrounds, you have different beliefs, you have different experiences. But one thing for sure is you're gonna have to work together as a team. So if you have it in you that you are not flexible or open to others' experiences and where people come from,
Yes.
stay your ass at home. Stay your ass at home. That's the best way I can put it.
Yes. That ain't the life for you because that, I mean, when I was stationed in Rhoda, I had this African guy that worked for me. I ended up being in charge of the section. And I would ask him to do stuff or I would say, hey, this needs to be done. And he would completely not do it. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then I would tell the senior, I was like, this is baffling to me because he don't ever do nothing. It's like he just sits there. So it come to find out he said that women shouldn't be in charge in his culture. Women shouldn't be in charge.
Mm.
Audrey, I went off. I went off.
Mm.
I went
I know
off.
you did.
Because I told him, and because I was like, you know what, we need to all have a meeting. I said, you know what, I am not disrespecting your culture, but you joined the United States Air Force. Women are running shops. Women are running the different things in here. You can't sit here and tell me you're not going to do a job because a woman told you what to do. I said, you don't lost your whole mind. Like, I mean, sleeping in the office, it was really bad. I was like, this can't be real. I said, you know what? I said, I'm gonna tell you right now that somebody needs to fix this. Either put him on a different shift from me. I said because I'm about to tear him a new one. And they were like, it's okay. Like, but it's like that's the part of being into this, this team. Like we didn't have a team because he thought because I was a woman that we couldn't we can't work together because I need to be in charge. And for me, I told him, I said, if you want to be in charge, go ahead and make rank. Like we all had the
Yeah,
same opportunities to make the same rank, but you chose not to make it. So that is not my fault. But That's the part of being that cohesive team that we learn to do, right? But not everybody learns how to do it. And you're right. If you can't be a part of a team, you need to stay your behind home. If your culture doesn't allow you to have women in charge, colors, the different things that people find reasons not to want to say, hey, I'm gonna work with you, you got to stay home.
Yeah.
Stay in the hometown and see how far you get.
Now, don't get it twisted. It is a challenge for the person on the other end to find ways to adjust to get a good result from that.
Oh yeah.
Because part of you just want to, like you said, you just want to go back to wait a minute and just
Yeah, like
throw all
please.
professionalism out the window. And look, and we're entitled to feel that way because that's where we come
Yes.
from.
Yes.
But what I can say that I'm thankful for is I have a lot more tools in my bag. Being that I served 21 years, um,
Yes.
I'm not as I'm not as hot headed. I'm not as irrational. I actually take a step back and think about all different um, outcomes of a scenario. I I I weigh things different. I don't just let one thing knock me down and then I stay down. For the past like 5 years, 5, 6 years, they were big on preaching resiliency. And that
Yes.
was one thing that was one of those tools that I stuck in my bag for sure because things aren't going to go the way you want.
They
You
are.
got to be able to just continue to push through with your eye on the goal. So I always tell people that the Air Force did not treat me wrong at all.
Nope.
That yeah, I had my feelings because of this situation, that situation, and
Yep.
as anybody would for being with something for an extended period of time, but it gave me the opportunity to succeed in anything I wanted to do, not just the job that I was trained for, but anything. I could be working as a communications tech I did it for 14 years, but the other tools that I picked up can allow me to thrive in any job that you put me in. And
Yep.
I give all thanks to that to the Air Force. So if you have a list of pros and cons, it's going to be a lot of stuff on the list, but it
Yeah.
took care of me. It took care of my family. I have no complaints about the whole time, no regrets.
Oh, 100%. People complain about how, the Air Force, the care we get, going to the doctors, going to the dentist. For me, you got care that somebody can't even get. Like somebody else, they're like they gotta make a choice. Do I want to pay this bill or do I want to go to the doctor? Like
Yeah,
the Air Force gave us all kinds of opportunities. And then even after, my biggest thing learning towards the end of my career was your mindset. Like even more now, is if you continue to think negative, that's all you're going to continue to get is negative. Now, if you change your
yeah,
thought process and be like, you know what, that didn't go how I expected it. But that's the problem. We all expect things to go a certain way. And then when they don't, we're mad because it didn't fall out the way we expected it. But nothing is going to fall out how you expect it because we don't control the world. We don't control anybody else but
no,
how we respond to what somebody says to us. So we can go off all day and we could be mad. All we're going to do is be that crazy person on the side talking about, oh, she went off again. And that's what I learned. It's like I started to like, it's like, everybody want to comfort you because it's like, okay, I'm not going to sit there and let you talk to me crazy, but you're going to understand that we not doing this. Like, this is not okay. Like, you need to, yes, you outrank me. Yes, you have this rank. Yes, you carry this weight. But we're all still peoples and we all still need to have respect.
yeah.
But other than that, is there anything else you want to share? Feel it on your heart to share.
Uh, well, that right there is the toughest question because it's so many things that
Yeah.
you can touch on if you've had success, and even if you didn't have success, you can touch on the lesson that you learned. I guess I just so halfway through my career, I was married when I was in when I was in the Air Force. I got married in 2003, right before I left Montana, and I was married. up until about 2012 is when I separated. You know, that's a common thing in the military,
Very
separating
much
and getting
so.
divorced and stuff like that. And it can be very, very trying on you. But I, once again, used those tools that I learned, and I was able to push through. I had two more assignments after that point, and it was just me and my sons. Uh, we went to Japan. We finished up in Belgium and we went to Japan and then we came for me and I did that as a single father. Some people they know what I'm talking about because we have a lot of single parents in the armed forces and we make it happen. But for those who think that it's impossible or it's too tough and I don't think I can do that, never tell yourself you can't do anything.
Yeah.
You always got to keep your eye on the prize and keep pushing forward. Yes, yes, the service is going to put you in a position where you may have to leave your family for 6 months, 1 year, but that's not the end of the world. And the thing is I feel that the military has a reverse psychology thing going when it comes to the kids. They pour resources and leave a lasting impression on these kids from when they from when they're born to when they become teenagers and understand things. So some of them, their first choice is, "Hey, I'm gonna join the military because I
Yeah.
had a great experience."
Yeah.
But now they don't know that they about to enter into a different realm.
Yes.
The,
It's a whole
the
different
military
ballgame.
was just playing with your mind just to recruit you as if you were 10 years old. So I what I would share with people is, bottom line is make the experience yours.
Yes.
Every positive aspect you can take from it, take every every obstacle and just turn it into a positive experience because you will see the results from that in the future. My boys have no regrets. They've been all over the world. They've been in so many. They've been in more countries than so many adults. And now we've been back in the states for 3 years. It's like it never happened. But
Yeah.
they have that. They have those memories and those experiences, and now they're moving accustomed to, as they would if they never left the United States. So
But they don't have the thoughts of joining the military, right?
I want to say one of them does. My oldest, he doesn't have thoughts of just joining, but he said if he did, he would want to go to school first and come in and make a bigger impact as an officer. Now, as an enlisted guy, I'm looking at him with the side eye, like what? But I understand now because he
Yes.
will be in position to inflict change,
Yes.
to make a big impact. So
Yes.
I understand. Part of me looked at him like, I like your nerve, but I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. Like what? Like so? What I just did was nothing, right? Oh, okay. But no, but I mean that officer that you do it has. You mean as an enlisted, you can. It takes you longer to get to the top than it
Right.
does an officer. So I mean, and the money comes with the with the higher,
Yeah.
but the school and all that. But that's a really smart idea to come in and make a bigger impact, and that's an amazing way to put it. And you have taught that boy amazing. You have given him an amazing gift
Yeah.
because that right there, that thought process alone is not that whole oh I'm just gonna that play ball thing where I'm just gonna join if I join. But if you come in with that goal, you always
Yep.
strive and get that goal. It'll be 100%.
Yeah.
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 I appreciate you joining me and taking some time out.
Hey, once again, I think what you're doing is amazing. Uh, all these opportunities that we have to give back and inform people, and make sure that they go forward and have a good experience. I'm all for it. You have anything else you need on this type of avenue? You just let me know, and I'm always there to support.
All righty. Have an amazing day.
All right, you too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.